Today is Friday, January 16th, 2026, and we are witnessing a historic turning point in the evolution of technology. While the last 2 years were about AI answering questions, 2026 is officially the year AI started thinking for itself. In this special four-part series, we are breaking down the biggest AI news of the week. In part 1, we dive deep into OpenAI's massive announcement, the release of GPT 5.2 Codex. This isn't just another chatbot update. It's a reasoning engine that has just shattered the ceiling of what we thought was possible in coding and cybersecurity. Why is the tech world in a state of shock? Let's get into the details. To understand why GPT 5.2 Codex is a breakthrough, we have to look at how it works. Previous models like GPT-4 operated on pattern recognition, predicting the next word in a sentence. But GPT 5.2 Codex introduces what researchers call System 2 thinking. When you give this model a complex problem, it doesn't answer immediately. Instead, it enters a reasoning phase. It builds a mental chain of thought, testing different solutions internally before it ever shows you a result. If it finds a flaw in its own logic, it self-corrects in real time. This System 2 approach allows it to solve PhD-level physics problems and architectural software bugs that previously required a team of senior engineers. We are no longer talking to a database, we are talking to a digital architect. The codex suffix in its name is there for a reason. This model was trained on nearly every line of public and private enterprise code available. For software developers, imagine a tool that doesn't just write a snippet of code, but builds an entire scalable backend infrastructure from a single prompt. GPT 5.2 can now handle long context architecture, meaning it remembers and manages millions of lines of code across thousands of files without losing track. The cybersecurity shockwave. This is where things get controversial. Today's reports show that GPT 5.2 Codex can identify zero-day vulnerabilities, security flaws that even the creators of the software didn't know existed. While this is a dream for blue team defenders trying to protect banks and government data, it's a nightmare scenario if it falls into the hands of black hat hackers. OpenAI has implemented reasoning guardrails to prevent malicious use, but the debate on AI safety has been reignited globally. What does this mean for the average person? We are entering the era of the one-person unicorn. With a tool like GPT 5.2 Codex, a single individual can now perform the work that used to require a 20-person development team. The barrier to entry for creating the next big app or tech platform has dropped to zero. However, the question remains, what happens to entry-level jobs? If an AI can think, code, and debug better than a junior developer, how does the next generation learn? This is the fundamental challenge of 2026, balancing the massive leap in productivity with the need for human-centric roles. GPT 5.2 Codex is just the beginning of our Friday news update. It represents the brain of the new AI era. But what happens when you put that brain into a physical body? In part 2, we are moving from the digital world to the physical world. We'll be discussing the incredible news from Boston Dynamics, where their Atlas humanoid robots have officially started full-time shifts in manufacturing plants alongside human workers. Is the robot revolution finally here? Don't go anywhere, part 2 is coming up next. Welcome back to part 2. In our previous segment, we looked at GPT 5.2 Codex, the digital brain that is now capable of human-level reasoning. But as impressive as a brain is, it needs a body to interact with the physical world. For decades, we've seen science fiction movies about robots walking among us. Well, as of this Friday, January 16th, 2026, science fiction has officially become a factory reality. The headline today comes from Boston Dynamics. Their all-electric Atlas robot, which was unveiled as a prototype nearly 2 years ago, has just completed its first full week of autonomous 24/7 shifts in a commercial manufacturing plant. We are no longer talking about lab experiments. We are talking about a new category of employees. The big news involves the Hyundai Smart Factory. Reports coming in this morning confirm that a fleet of Atlas humanoids is now handling the end-to-end logistics of heavy automotive parts. Unlike traditional industrial robots that are bolted to the floor and restricted by cages, these Atlas units are roaming the floor freely. What makes this a 2026 breakthrough is the dexterity milestone. Boston Dynamics has integrated a new tactile sensing hand system. In the video footage released today, we see Atlas picking up irregular heavy engine components, rotating them to check for defects using AI vision, and precisely installing them into chassis. It does this with a fluid, human-like motion that avoids the jerky movements of older robots. Most importantly, it is doing this with zero human intervention. It navigates around human workers, recognizes obstacles, and even recharges itself when its battery hits 5%. But Boston Dynamics isn't alone. 2026 has become the year of the humanoid arms race. While Atlas is dominating the heavy industrial sector, Tesla's Optimus Gen 3 is making massive waves in retail and light assembly. Elon Musk recently tweeted that Optimus is now being tested for home assistant tasks, though factory labor remains the priority. Meanwhile, Figure AI, backed by the massive investment from OpenAI we mentioned in the news earlier, has deployed its Figure Zero 2 models into BMW plants. Why is this happening all at once? It's because the AI reasoning we discussed in part 1 is finally being uploaded into these machines. They are no longer pre-programmed to move from point A to point B. They are visual learners. You can show an Atlas robot a video of a human performing a task, and through imitation learning, the robot can replicate that task within minutes. This is the ChatGPT moment for physical labor. The deployment of these robots comes at a critical time. Globally, we are facing massive labor shortages in manufacturing and logistics. Proponents argue that robots like Atlas are taking over the 3D jobs, tasks that are dirty, dull, or dangerous. By having robots lift 100-pound car doors for 20 hours a day, we reduce human injury and increase efficiency. However, the speed of this rollout is raising alarms for labor unions. If one Atlas robot can do the work of 3 humans at a fraction of the long-term cost, what happens to the factory towns of the world? We are seeing a shift where manual labor is being replaced by robot supervision. The job of the future isn't moving the box. It's managing the fleet of robots that moves the boxes. The sight of a humanoid robot walking the factory floor is a sign that the boundary between human and machine is blurring. But AI isn't just changing how we work. It's changing how we see and interact with our daily environment. In part 3, we're stepping out of the factory and into your living room. We'll be looking at the breakthrough from CES 2026, the death of the smartphone, and the rise of AI smart glasses. Are we about to stop looking down at our screens forever?